Hello, hello. Good morning. Greetings from Anchorage, Alaska. Looks like I have a couple folks in the live stream already. Welcome. If you care to put a quick hi in the chat, that would be cool. I hope everybody is having a good weekend. I just got back off vacation, and I tell you what, I have my vacation glow. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it was good to be out. It's also good to be back, but all that sun and relaxation. Oh my gosh, it was just what the doctor ordered. Yeah, so I'll wait and see if folks are able to hear me because I don't want to get started if you can't hear me. So, who do we have in the live stream? So it's showing me that there are 2 people on right now. Uh-oh. What happened? All right. There we go. So I'll give it a few minutes and then I'll go ahead and get into the share. I think it's going to be a good one. Hi, Michael. How's it going? Good to see you. There's Michael. Michael, I wanted to tell you, I made you a moderator. So I have to be honest with you. I haven't really dug deep into how you can use that functionality. But I know that if there are people that come on and they're kind of trolling or whatever, if you suspect they're trolling, I believe there are some options that you can, let me see. Oh, okay. So yeah, Michael, there's an option in there. For me, I get these 3 little buttons off to the side, and you can put a user in timeout or you can block a user. I hope you don't mind. I made you and then I want to say Jay moderators. And this is another exclusive live, meaning that I kind of locked it down. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. I'm waiting for a few more people to join. But I think from here on out, I'm going to do the whole thing where you have to be a subscriber for at least 5 weeks. If you're willing to subscribe for 5 weeks or more and still get on here and troll, hats off to you. But yeah, so Michael, if you're not comfortable with that, please let me know and I will remove the moderator function. Hey, Jay. Hey, Jay, welcome. Welcome. Okay, we will figure it out. Okay, cool. Thank you. So Jay, I was just sharing with Michael. I made him a moderator as well. So the 2 of you are my moderators. In the event we get a troll on here or something. Oh, and then also that HGA member live that I was supposed to have this morning because I was having some technical difficulties. I went ahead and went live at 9 a.m., but I don't think that the members saw it. So I rescheduled for next Sunday at 8:30. So we'll have another members only live at that time. And then Jay, I need to get with you because we have a collab coming up. So we need to kick around some ideas of what we want to do for that. And then Michael, I want to get with you for the same thing to see when you would be interested in collaborating because that's one of the perks for the membership tier that you signed up for. So hopefully you'll be open to that. I know Jay, we've talked about it a little bit and he has his podcast and all that good stuff. So that'll be cool. I'm looking forward to that. All right, y'all. So I think I'm at a point to where we can go ahead and kick this thing off. So welcome back to my channel, Happy Girl Alaska. I'm your girl, Terry, AKA your Alaskan homegirl. And if you're new here, welcome. So we have another live stream today, y'all. I'm fresh coming off of a vacation. I was gone for a week. I ventured over to Palm Springs. warmed up a little bit, came back here and had to shovel my driveway. But such is life, right? And so the trip that I took to Palm Springs is actually inspiring the topic that we're going to talk about today. So I'll let you know what the topic is in just a bit here, but I want to go through some housekeeping items as per usual, and then we'll go ahead and get into it. So, first thing I want to mention is, again, this is an exclusive live stream, which means that you have to have been a subscriber of this channel for at least 5 weeks or more in order to put something in the chat. So you won't be able to put a comment in the chat during this live stream if you don't meet that criteria. But I always have a replay. So if you have any questions, comments, or whatever, you can always put those down in the comment section, but it will be during the replay, not during this live stream. So if you want to participate in the chat, hit the subscribe button. Another thing I want to say is that, well, I want to encourage you that as you're entering the live stream, if you can hit the thumbs up button, that really helps me out. It helps these types of videos show up in the algorithm. I'm going to be doing live streams. I'm thinking every Saturday. I moved it to Sunday today, this time because I just got back on Friday. I needed to get my head back in the game and everything. But from here on out, Saturdays is when we will have our live streams. All right. So it looks like we have someone else who joined the chat. I'm going to do a real quick roll call here in a second, but I want to continue going through the housekeeping items here. Let's see. So I talked about hitting the like button. We have another live coming up. Oh, and then next Saturday, the live is going to feature one of my HGA members. So we're going to be having a collaboration. So, well, Jay, I need to talk to you about this. Either we'll do a live together or we'll do like a separate video together, and then I'll just upload it on the channel. So it's your preference, Jay. If you're comfortable doing live, we'll do live. If not, we'll do something different. So we'll talk about that later. Let me see. I got some interviews coming up. And then also, if you're not following me on Instagram, if you have an Instagram page or whatever, you're signed up on Instagram, be sure to follow me over there, because what I did is I posted some highlights of my trip in Palm Springs. It was just like a real quick 1-minute clip, but it had a whole lot in it. So head over there. My Instagram handle is Happy Girl Alaska, same as my YouTube channel. And again, I do offer memberships. So if you're wanting to be a member of this channel, what you'll see is a button that says join underneath all of my videos now, I believe. And if you hit the join button, then you'll see the tier structure. If there's one that appeals to you based on the perks that will be offered, just hit the join button, and there are different pricing structures associated with that too. So there's that. And then what else? Oh, I wanted to remind you all that I am still hosting a 5-day getaway retreat in the summer. So that's going to be happening in June. And then also I am doing what I'm calling the Ultimate City Tour Package. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And I will be setting it up to where you can schedule private tours with Percy and I. So I'm looking forward to that as well. There are going to be so many different offerings, so I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. And I want to say that's it. Is that it? That's it. That's all the housekeeping stuff. So real quick, I'm going to go through and greet you all. Let's start at the top. Michael Carson, good to see you. Welcome. And Jay, glad you're here. And hold on, I think I see a new face in here. All right, Marion. Hi, I don't know if you've been on any of the live streams. Please forgive me if you've been on before and I'm not catching your name right now, but welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see. Silos M, greetings from Juneau. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. So, if there's anybody in here from Alaska, shout out your city. So, I'm in Anchorage, and I should probably say that. I live in Anchorage, Alaska. I've lived here for over 40 years now. And I think it's always interesting when I have folks who live in Alaska join the live streams or watch the videos. That is so cool. Thank you, Silos. Thank you for being here. Peter, Peter, I'm not even going to try and pronounce your last name, but welcome. So good to see you. And I think you might be a new face too. Welcome, welcome. All right. Marion, you're a newbie and you're glad to be here. I'm glad to have you here. Perfect. All right, you all. So as more folks trickle in, I will. Oh, Pamela, I was looking for you, girl. Welcome. I'm glad you're on. Okay. I see more people rolling in. All right, Arctic Thunder, good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you're not working today. I know sometimes you work on Saturday, so hopefully you got Sunday off. Goldie Smell Good, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Perfect. All right, you know what? Let's go ahead and get into the share. So, like I said, the topic of discussion for today was inspired by my trip that I took to Palm Springs, California this past week. Y'all, I needed to warm up. I was going stir crazy. I had cabin fever. I had sad, all of that stuff. So I had to escape, and I'm glad I did. So this is the topic today. I want to talk about hashtag boycott winter, right? But on the flip side of that, let's talk about boycotting hot ass summers. So while I was down in Palm Springs, California, they told me the temperature gets up to 123 degrees. And there's no way I would be able to survive in that type of heat. And I know that and I know that a lot of people come to Alaska during the summer, and I want to say Anchorage, right? Because that's what I speak on, because that's where I'm from. So, Silos, you may be able to speak to Juneau, and please do chime in. But when people come to Anchorage in the summertime, we have a very mild summer. You know, it's very comfortable. You hear a lot of people talk about that. So I'm going to talk about the snowbirding aspects, which is something that I am attracted to, escaping during the winter. And then I don't know what you call the opposite of that. It wouldn't be snowbirding. If you're somewhere hot, you're burning up and you want to get away from all that, but you still want to have a nice summer. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let me see if we have any questions before we get into it. Okay. All right, so let's do it. So the first thing, because I had talked about leaving Alaska, right? About moving, leaving the state after my daughter graduated from high school. Y'all, I don't know if I'll completely leave Alaska, at least not right now. What really appeals to me at this time is escaping during the wintertime. So what I'm looking at is a list of things that I'm taking into consideration when it comes to snowbirding, because starting this fall is when I'm going to put that into play. My daughter will be heading off to college, and so I'll have a lot more flexibility that way. So the first thing that I'm trying to narrow down is when I want to head out and how long do I want to be gone. So I think for me, around October is when it really starts getting chilly here in Anchorage. And probably mid-October is when I will be making my first trip out. Now, ideally, I would like to be gone for 3 months, probably at the most, just to start out. Well, not to start out, working up to that, right? And then maybe more after that. So what I'm kicking around right now is in October, I would leave mid-October and be gone for a week or two and then come back. Now, for those folks that are living in a warmer climate and you're considering coming here, if you want to escape the really hot summers where you're at, then I would say if you don't want to come here when it's still cold, you might want to plan on taking a trip to Alaska. I would say plan on it in April. So beginning to mid-April is probably an ideal time at the earliest of when you would want to come to, and again, I'm speaking to Anchorage, Alaska. Now, silos, if someone was living somewhere that's like super hot, so like I said, Palm Springs, their temperatures were kind of climbing up by the time I was getting ready to head back. But what is an ideal time for people if they're wanting to escape a super hot summer to come and visit Juneau? If you don't mind speaking to that. And I hope Silos is still on because he can talk about Juneau. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think Juneau, their climate is very similar to Seattle. I think they get a lot of rain there. And personally, I don't think I could do a lot of rain either. My daughter and I, we went to Seattle during Thanksgiving. Granted, they had green grass and all that stuff. It was super rainy and it looked kind of sad. So I don't know if Juneau is exactly like that, but I hear that your climate is pretty similar. Your weather is pretty similar. So I don't see anything from Silos as of yet. But I do think I have let me see. All right. So Michael, you said that's a good option, escaping from time to time. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I'm even thinking about maybe coming up with a schedule because I'm going to have to ease into this whole snowbirding thing. So I'm thinking a week or two at a time, and then over time building up, right? 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then before you know it, y'all will be seeing me going live, sitting outside next to a beach somewhere. I'm just saying, that's the goal. That is the goal. Marion, do you enjoy some aspects of the winter season? You know what, Marion? I do. I do. So when we get our first snowfall, even when we get like the termination dust on the mountains, it's so pretty. And there's an excitement because, fall is ending. The leaves have all fallen off the trees. It's looking real brown for the most part. You got the gold leaves and stuff like that, but it's starting to kind of look kind of sad. And then the snow comes in and it blankets everything. And it's a winter wonderland. It really is beautiful. It is. And I would say for me, the first 2 months of winter, I love it because I love the change in scenery. I really do. And I'll get out there and play in it a little bit too, to be honest with you. I think where it starts getting tough, well, number one for us, we had a very early winter this year, and we got our first snowfall, I want to say in September, but then we got sub-zero temperatures in November, which is not the norm. So that made it really rough. That made it really hard. I don't think that's happened in a long time, but I don't mind the snow so much. I mind the ice, but I don't mind the snow. So I really like that. And it's cool that we do have snow for Christmas for the most part. But what really gets me is when it's really, really cold and then the darkness that lasts for such a long period of time. That's where it gets rough. So, but yeah, there are some things that I do enjoy about winter. Yeah. And then the activities that they have too. So we're going to be having Fur Rondy coming up here pretty soon, and the Iditarod. And so I'm hoping to get out and capture some of that for you all. I do have a video where I did go to, because they have oh gosh, what do you call it? They have like a carnival downtown. So I do have a video that I made of that. And I also went and I filmed the snow sculptures and they have ice sculptures and all that stuff. So if you haven't seen that video and if you're curious, I'll try and remember and put a link down below so that you can go and check that out. But for Rondi, Iditarod, that normally happens around the end of February, beginning of March. All right. So let's see here. We got a new person in the room, Rita Connors. Hey, how's it going, Rita? Thank you for joining us. Rita says, in Alaska, is there a lack of medical professionals or lengthy wait list for professionals? I used to live in New Hampshire, and it could be difficult to find medical professionals. You know what? I think, okay. All right. So let me touch on that because I work in the healthcare industry too. And this might be kind of sensitive, but I'll talk about it. So there was a mandate that came out in order for people who worked at certain healthcare facilities, you had to be vaccinated by a certain date. I want to say it was November 10th or something like that. And if you weren't, then you would be considered what they call voluntary resignation. So I don't know how many healthcare workers did not go and get vaccinated, but I do know that there are quite a few job openings right now. There is a big need right now, a big push to hire on healthcare workers. So right now, Rita, it is not difficult to find a job if you are in the healthcare industry. So I don't know how long that's going to last, but they are trying to fill positions right now. And I want to say at most of the healthcare facilities here in Anchorage. I can't speak to Juneau. Celos, if you could speak to Juneau, that would be awesome. All right, let's see what else we have here. Jeb Smith, Iron Dog next weekend. Oh my goodness, I completely forgot about Iron Dog. Yes. So Jeb, are you going to go and check that out? I used to work with a girl who raced in the Iron Dog. I can't remember her name right now. Yeah. All right. Michael Carson, trade you sunshine for snow. Any day, Michael, just let me know when you want to make that trade. I will be happy to do that. And I know that you're planning on coming up, maybe not this winter, but during a winter so you can experience an Alaskan winter. So I would love to hear about that. All right, Marion, I'm in Minnesota and it's flat. I'd be a treat to see snowy mountaintops. Oh yeah. Okay. So let me, and I'll get back to the topic here in just a second. So one thing I did really like about Palm Springs is they have mountains there. And I'm probably sounding very ignorant, but I had no idea that they had mountains, and they had the highest peak, and I can't think of the name of the mountain, had snow, not all over it, but like the tops of the mountain had snow. And I thought that was so cool. So, and that's one of the criteria, and I'll get to that because that is important. For me, being somewhere that's flat, one of the reasons why Tucson, Arizona doesn't appeal to me, even though it's hot and it's nice during the wintertime. I don't like the fact that everything is the color of sand. And for the most part, it's very flat, at least in my opinion. There may be other areas in Arizona that aren't like that, but Tucson, I'm just like, I could not get up and look at this every day. I could, but I wouldn't choose that, not on purpose. All right, so let's go to the next criteria that I would be looking at, and that is the location. So these are the things that would be important to me, that are important to me when I'm considering where I want to snowbird. And I'm planning to try out different cities over the years to see where I want to land. So one of my criteria is I don't want to have to wear a coat or a jacket. That is important to me. So I find that as long as the temperature is between, I'll just say if it's 50 and above, then that works for me. Now, for someone who's trying to escape a super hot summer and coming to Anchorage, maybe that's a criteria for you too, right? Because you don't want to come here and be freezing cold. I mean, you want to get out of that hot ass sun, but you don't want to come here and be freezing, or at least I don't think you do. And so that's why for me, I would say mid-April would be the optimal time for you to come to visit Anchorage. All right. I can't say Alaska as a whole because I did that one video talking about how Alaska is a huge state. And so depending on where you are, which region you're in will determine what type of climate you experience. I should probably do a video just specifically talking about the different regions. We'll see. Okay. So no coat required, temperature 50 and above. And that's for day and night. And then another thing I'm looking at is the number of sunshine days. That is super important to me. Again, Seattle does not appeal to me because I don't want to get out and experience a whole bunch of rain. Now, if you're coming to Anchorage during the month of April, it is rainy during that month, if I'm remembering correctly. We get quite a bit of rain in April. And then I would say May is like when summer really kicks off in Anchorage. All right. So I want a lot of sunshine days, minimal rain. And then another thing that I'm interested in is I want to go somewhere that is slow paced. Now, for some people, Anchorage is fast paced. If you're coming from somewhere like New York, Anchorage is not going to seem fast paced. It's just not. But if you really want to go to a city to where it's a little bit more laid back than Anchorage, because we do have the largest population here, I would say maybe you'll want to consider Fairbanks. Maybe you'll want to consider, I don't know, Homer Star is really kicking up because it's a very touristy area. Let me see. And then Seward is the same way. They start getting quite a few people in. Yeah, I will have to look into that a little bit more. I don't think Anchorage is too bad, though, to be honest with you, because if you're coming from a major city in the lower 48, then Anchorage is going to seem like it's slow paced to you. All right. And then one thing that I liked about Palm Springs is I don't think we were in a retirement community, but there were a lot of retirees there. So there were a lot of retirees, and then you kind of had like a little bit of that party scene, but not too much. And I don't know if the whole, COVID thing is kind of playing into that a little bit. Maybe it's busier during that time, but they said there were a lot of events going on, but I didn't see a ton of people in Palm Springs. And then the other thing is, we talked about it earlier. I want scenery. I would love to be somewhere that has mountains. If you come to Alaska, you're guaranteed to have mountains. Bodies of water. Anchorage has tons. I want to say the entire state has tons of bodies of water. So something scenic, something that you can look forward to. When you're doing a road trip, for me, I don't want to look out and just see flat, flat, flat. And in Alaska, you don't have to worry about that. Everywhere you look, just about in the summertime, is going to be picturesque. So yeah, that's another thing that I'm looking at. So location criteria, no coat required, sunshine days, minimal rain, slow paced, a mixture of, let's say, retired people versus not retired. I don't want to lean too severely one way or the other. And then scenery and features, things that you can go and I love nature. So wherever I go, I would love the option to be able to get out and go for a hike or something like that and go sightseeing. Okay, let me look at the chat real quick. For those of you who don't know, the topic of discussion today is, I'm calling it #boycott_winter. But really, it's me just trying to figure out where I want to go, because I'm planning on snowbirding starting next winter. But then also on the flip side, for those people that want to escape those hot ass summers and come up to Alaska and get a break from all of that, you know? Uh, let's see. Let's see. New Orleans. New Orleans. So, Michael, are you saying that New Orleans is a good option for if you're wanting to be a snowbird? I've never been to New Orleans. I would love to go. I would love to see it. It's on my list. I'll get over there one day. Um, let's see. Hey, Marion, Michael, Jeff, Underritas. Danielle is greeting everybody. Welcome, Danielle. Welcome, welcome. Okay, Marion, what are your thoughts on living in Wasilla, Palmer, or Willow as a woman of color? Now, here, let me leave that up. Let me leave that up. No, I'm kidding. So let me say this real quick too before I continue on. Okay, a couple things. If you could hit the like button, I would greatly appreciate it because that will help this live stream show up in the algorithm. And then also, if you're finding that you're putting something in the chat box, but it's not showing up when you hit enter or whatever, that is because you have not been subscribed to this channel for 5 weeks or more. So the people who can participate in the chat are those who have been subscribed for 5 weeks or more. So if you would like to participate in these live streams, because we're going to have them every Saturday, it's either going to be every Saturday or I will push it to Sunday if need be. But you can guarantee every Saturday we're going to have a live stream talking about Alaska stuff and maybe some other stuff. All right. Okay. So what are your thoughts on living in Wasilla, Palmer, or Willow as a woman of color? So my thoughts on that, as far as Wasilla and Palmer, I have never had an issue when I've gone out to Wasilla or Palmer. Now, I have not seen very many people of color out there, to be honest, but I haven't spent any length of time out that way. But someone that I know, he did not grow up around a lot of people of color, especially Black people out in, I can't remember if he's from Wasilla or Palmer. I use those two interchangeably. I know I'm wrong as all get out for that, but it's hard for me to make a, I can't make a distinction between the two because they're so close together. But I will say going out that way, I don't feel any type of way about being in Wasilla or Palmer. I feel like for the most part, wherever you go in Alaska, it's so chill. You know, I mean, you will have some knuckleheads from time to time, but for the most part, people are pretty cool. They're pretty chill. I can't speak to Willow. I don't know if I've been to Willow. If I have, it's been a long time. Would I live in Wasilla or Palmer? Probably not. Just being honest, it's not my scene. It's not my scene. The furthest out I would go is probably Eagle River. Yeah. So I hope that helped. All right, let's see here. We got Danielle. Hey, Danielle. I was feeling a little left out because I saw you had everybody else's name in your chat except for mine. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, thank you for joining us and thank you for showing us love. Let's see here. So Danielle, Arizona. Yeah. So Arizona, I know they have like Sedona. You can go and see the Red Rocks and all that stuff. And Arizona is still kind of on my list. But the place that I've spent the most time in Arizona has been Tucson. And I'm not really a big fan of Tucson, Arizona. I mean, I just feel like it's super flat. I feel like everything is the color of sand. And I think that would get real old real quick for me. It's not for me. Not for me. Okay. All right. So here's another thing that I want to talk about as far as like where I would choose to go as far as being a snowbird and what you should take into consideration if you're deciding to come up to Alaska during the summer so that you can experience a mild summer. And that is the internet. It is important to have fast and stable internet, aka reliable internet service. Now, the minimum, I want to say the upload is 25 and download is 3, right? I want to say where I was at because I stayed at an Airbnb. um, I had a really tough time with their network because I was working. I was probably off one day while I was down there. And that's something that I probably should have looked into a little bit more or a lot more. It would depend on the time of the day, because I'm sure there were other people, of course, right, using their internet service. And yeah, but it was kind of hard. And thankfully, I didn't have any major meetings or anything like that because a lot of the things that I do is over Zoom because I work remote. But yeah, it was kind of a struggle. It was kind of a struggle the first couple days I was there. So that's definitely something that I am taking a look at, in my consideration of where I want to go in Snowbird. And that's something that you should take a look at too. Look at the different types of companies that offer internet service. I know there are so many options now. I'm going to be exploring options, that are available to me so that no matter where I go, I will have reliable internet. Oh, okay. So that's something else that I'm looking at. Before I get to this next thing, and I'm looking at the time because I want to wrap it up in an hour today. But if we stay a little over, that's okay. But I don't want to stay over too much more than an hour. Marion, I suggest Hawaii. I think it's a tropical paradise that gets lots of rain during the winter. Lots of rain during the winter. Okay. Okay. And you know what? Hawaii, Marion, is a consideration for me, kind of. I kind of feel like it might be a little bit out of my price range, especially if I was looking at long-term snowbirding, meaning more than a couple weeks. So maybe Hawaii might be one of those places I would go for 1 week and then I would hop over to somewhere else in the lower 48. But I would love to wake up to paradise every day. That would be awesome. That would be cool. But it kind of, this next thing that I want to talk about plays into that. Um, let's see. All right. So, Michael, okay. I was thinking of it until you said a slow pace. So I think you're talking about New Orleans. And yeah, I hear that there's a lot of activity down there. And I think that's kind of the draw. And if I wanted to go and just like have a good time and then leave, for I would do that more for vacation than I would for snowbirding. Um, so yeah, it definitely wouldn't fall into that category of being slow paced. All right, let's see here. Arctic Thunder. SoCal was so nice, 70 degrees. Were you in California last week too? I think I remember you mentioning that on the last live stream that you and your son were going to be traveling to California. Very cool. Yeah. So while we were down there, the temperature was, I think at night, it probably got down to like 50, 55. And then during the day, I want to say the hottest it got maybe was like 89 degrees. We went and checked out Joshua Tree. If you check out my Instagram feed, you'll see that I have like the little clips, from that trip that I took last week. I am working on the video, so you'll get like some of the highlights of that trip for the next day in the life. And thank y'all so much for the support that you showed for that day in the life video. It's been a minute since I made one of those. So thank you. I really appreciate you all watching that video. And I'm working on another one that will be released next, I want to say next, either this coming Wednesday or next Sunday. All right, Danielle, I've been subscribed to you. I found you through Soulful Tea Cooking Channel. She suggested you. You are one of her favorite YouTube channels. Check her out. I'm subscribed to her. Danielle. She's such a sweetheart. Yeah, she's such a sweetheart. She kind of reminds me of Tabitha. What is wrong with me? She kind of reminds me of Tabitha Brown because they're very positive and upbeat, and they kind of like have a mothering type of personality. So, yeah, thank you for that, Danielle. All right. Arctic Thunder, when I think of the valley, I hear band. You always say that. And you know what? I am not going to feed into that because those people are not going to be looking at me crazy if I happen to find myself in Wasilla or Palmer. But that does give me a video idea. It does. Because you know what? We have people that live in Wasilla. It's either Wasilla or Palmer. Like I said, I mix them up. They come for Anchorage all the time. That like we're savages over here. So I think I might have to respond in kind. But we'll see. I'll have to be in my mood. I have to be in my mood in order to do that. And I'm still gonna make that video about the trolls. Baby girl is back to herself. She's 100%. So her and I are going to collab for that video where we're going to be addressing these internet trolls. And for those of you who don't know, my baby girl has a YouTube channel as well. I want to say it's Hey, it's Kasia XOXO. So, you know, if you have teenagers or, you know, young folks that watch YouTube, have them check out her channel. I think it's cute. She's building up her subscriber base and everything. So if y'all wouldn't mind showing her some love, that would be awesome. All right, let's see. Arctic Thunder. In April, we heading to ABQ to jumpstart our spring/summer. Arctic Thunder, you're gonna have to help me out because I don't know what ABQ. I don't know what that is. All these acronyms, I can't. I can't. Help me out. Help me out. Is that Albuquerque? I don't know. Marion, Florida might be perfect. Specifically, the Key West hurricane season might be an issue. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Florida is beautiful. I have tons of family in Florida, but hurricane season is not cute. I don't like the idea. I remember when we would go visit our grandparents during the summertime and we would have to like, what they call it, evacuate and go to another city, you know, to wait for the hurricane to pass. That was not fun. But Florida is gorgeous. Florida is gorgeous. So I would love to go to Key West. I would love to experience that. Yeah. And I got to get down to Miami one of these days too. It's on my bucket list. All right, y'all. Let me go back to this topic here. I'm so happy to see y'all. It's been a long time. It seems like it's been a while. All right. So who was it? I think it was Marion, whoever it was that mentioned Hawaii as a snowbird destination. So cost of living aside, right? Another thing that's important to me is the COVID policy or the vaccine restrictions or mandates and, you know, that type of stuff. So when I was in Palm Springs, if you wanted to eat inside, you had to show proof of vaccination, which is fine because I received my vaccination. Now, they say that what I'm hearing, you're not fully vaxxed anymore unless you also have received a booster. And I haven't received a booster yet. It's being offered through my employer. I haven't decided if I'm going to take it or not. But if I were to start snowbirding next winter, if the booster was a requirement, that may play into me getting it or not. I don't know. Like I said, I've been around people who have had COVID and I have not had it. So, you know, but that's another thing that I'm looking at. You know, what are the testing requirements? What are the vaccine requirements? What are the mask requirements? I hear that in some places that they're totally doing away with having to wear a mask. And when we went to the grocery store, we had our mask on because it was mandated to do that. And I don't mind it so much anymore. But if they start requiring any more, depending on the city, that is definitely going to factor in. Now, here in Anchorage, you can go in the grocery store. You don't have to wear a mask. They prefer you wear a mask, but you don't have to. It's optional. When you go to a restaurant, they don't require proof of vaccination. When you come in, you do need to have your mask on and then wait and get seated, and then you can take off your mask. So it's pretty, I would say, pretty lenient here in Alaska as far as the mask requirements and proof of vaccination and all of that stuff. So, just a little tidbit for those of you who may be considering coming to Alaska during the summertime. Now, granted, this is February. I said come here April, May timeframe. That could change, right? Because things are constantly evolving around that. So, do your research. Do your research. All right. Another thing that I am looking into is the living accommodations. So, looking at Airbnbs, looking at hotels, even looking at maybe renting an apartment, right? So, if it gets to the point to where I'm snowbirding, I would say more than 3 months, then I might look into renting an apartment. The Airbnb, again, that I stayed at was really nice. And again, well, you can wait for it because I'm going to include those clips into the next day in the life video. But oh my gosh, there were two pools, there were two hot tubs, palm trees everywhere. They had a restaurant and a bar, two bars on site. So that's the type of Airbnb I can get into. I know that some people will rent a house while they're doing their thing. Again, that would depend on the length of time that I'm going to be here. And then hotels are the same. Now, what I will say, because I've looked at some of the Airbnbs here in Alaska, and from what I've seen, so I'm kind of bougie, admittedly. Okay, so when I look at some of the Airbnbs that are out there, they look really rustic. They're clean, but they look really rustic, right? So if you get into the log cabin look, the wilderness look, you don't mind antlers hanging on the ceiling, that type of thing, then you know it'll be fine. But then they do also have people that rent out places, like I've seen townhouses too, condo style townhouses that are available on Airbnb here in Anchorage. So that's a consideration. So Airbnbs, hotels. I don't know if I would really opt for a hotel if I'm snowbirding, but maybe. And then there are rentals. So, all right. So that's as far as living accommodations, that's what I have for that. Let's go back to the chat. What are we saying over here? Danielle, maybe somewhere in Florida, but I would never live in Florida. Too many alligators. Oh, okay. I mean, I never saw an alligator in all the times that we went and visited Florida, but I know they are around there. Goldie, I really enjoyed the day in the life video. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? I have to remind myself, Goldie, that, I mean, for me, it's my day to day getting on, right? And I'm thinking, is anybody really going to be interested in this? But what I find is that if I'm interested in visiting someplace or just curious about how people live their lives, I think maybe seeing somebody do that will, if you're on the fence about moving somewhere, it could kind of give you a little bit of a push or some encouragement or inspiration to move to said city or said country or what have you. So I have to keep that in mind. Like, this is the life that I'm living. This is the life that I know. But it's always interesting to see how people get on day to day throughout their lives. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Danielle, she is. Okay. So, okay, you must be responding to another chat. Okay, Arctic Thunder. We went to San Diego and a quick stop to see a friend at Camp Pendleton, then out to Denver. Oh, nice. Nice, nice. So you must have been gone for more than a week, maybe? And that's the other thing too, right? Because just because you're leaving to snowbird or, escape or whatever, you can always hop around. And the great thing about if you come to Alaska during the summertime, you could land here in Anchorage, right? Catch a flight, come into Anchorage, and then you can go and explore the other cities. So you're not confined. Just depending on where you want to go, you have to keep in mind the road systems are limited. So probably ferry, catching a ferry, taking a cruise. Um, I would say flight seeing tours would be a really great way to experience Alaska. But yeah, there are so many options. You don't have to just land in one place and stay there. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, San Diego, Camp Pendleton, and then Denver. That sounds like a nice trip. All right. Arctic Thunder, the valley is too spread out for me. Yeah, and I think that is why people like to purchase homes out in Wasilla and Palmer and Willow. And then for some people, even when you're moving out to Eagle River. Now, Eagle River is not as spread out as Wasilla and those areas out that way. I would say it's kind of like a progression, right? You're in Anchorage where it's really populated. Then you go out to Eagle River and you get a little more space. But then you go out to Wasilla and you can get tons of land. Your money goes a lot further out in Wasilla and Palmer. Only thing is, you might have a neighbor that turned their yard into a junkyard. And that's all I'm going to say on that for now. Let's see. Happy that your baby girl is feeling better. She is. Thank you so much. I'm happy she is too. Thank you. Thank y'all for that. I'll let her know too. I'll let her know. Okay, Arctic Thunder. Okay, so ABQ is Albuquerque, New Mexico. Got it. I was just guessing when I saw that. Okay. Sorry, ABQ is the airport letters. Okay. All these acronyms. And the industry that we're in, Arctic Thunder, I believe you work in IT, or at least you used to, is like acronym overload. All right. Let's see. I had to get the booster to get into Hawaii, and it didn't even affect me. Oh, really? So, okay. So I'm wondering if Hawaii is one of those places now that's saying to be fully vaccinated, you also have to have the booster. We don't have those requirements here. Yeah. At least I don't think. Let's see. Showing proof of vaccination sounds like New York. Yeah, a lot of places are doing that. Even Seattle did that when we were visiting for Thanksgiving. Ooh, y'all, I'm running out of time. Okay, let me see. All right, so let me go to the next thing. So budget, cost of living. I haven't deep dived into it as much, but I was watching another person was doing a video, and she said she created a spreadsheet and she put like different criteria that she was looking at, and then she listed out the different cities or countries that she was considering. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn it into a whole exercise so I can really nail down and try to start figuring out where I want to go, because I know October is going to be here before I know it. So I need to start doing that like now. Another thing that I really liked about Palm Springs, and I keep talking about Palm Springs because that's where I just came from for my trip. That's not where I'm planning to go in October this year. At least I don't think so. But just using that as an example, I love the fact that Palm Springs was small enough to where you could walk. The walkability factor was A plus. Most things were in close proximity. Could go to the grocery store. You could go to, I was going to say liquor store, but I mean, that was the case. But there were plenty of restaurants around town. The hospital, maybe you wouldn't want to walk to the hospital if you needed to get there. But as far as like driving distance, 10 minutes away. So I really like that. So for me, walkability is another thing that I would be interested in. And then also, I don't want it to take more than 30 minutes for me to get to where I want to go on like a day-to-day basis, right? Driving distance, 30 minutes one way, and then maybe 30 minutes back, because driving an hour every day does not appeal to me. And what I would say here is that if you decide to come to Anchorage, 30 minutes, I mean, that's nothing. It will, you can get around Anchorage. Anchorage is just a big old square. And I would say, as far as walkability in the summertime, it's fine. Again, we get tons of daylight, right? So you can walk around 12 o'clock midnight and it looks like it's broad daylight in some cases. So, walkability factor, driving factor, it's not going to take you more than 30 minutes to get to where it is you want to go within the city. So that's something that I think you might want to consider too. It's definitely something that I'm considering. Um, okay, and so before I go to my last point, let me take a, well, no, I'm going to go to my last point real quick because we have 4 minutes. Oh my goodness. So while we were there, we Ubered to most places. But then when we went to Joshua Tree, that's when we got a car through this service called Turo. And I don't know if you all have heard of Turo, but it's kind of like an Airbnb for your car. You rent cars from like everyday people, and they have their own little insurance deal that you can sign up for and stuff. And I mean, it was really professional. It was really professional. You didn't have to deal with a whole lot of things that you may have to if you're going through a traditional rental car service. So Turo is offered here in Anchorage. Of course, we have Uber, we have Lyft, and then of course you have the rental car services that are also available. I want to say throughout the state, but especially in Anchorage and um, yeah, Anchorage, Wasilla, those places like that and beyond. Is that everything that I wanted to talk about topic wise before I go to the chat? I think so. I think so. So I'm going to run through the list one quick time and then I'm going to go to the chat. So these are the things, and this is just me, right? I'm sure there are other things that I should probably be considering. If you have any suggestions, put them in the chat. I will add them to my list. So I'm looking at when I want to leave. When do I want to get out of here to escape winter so I can start boycotting winter? I need to look at how long I want to be gone. The location criteria, that I ran through. So slow paced, a balance between retired people versus not retired people, the scenery, that type of thing, sunshine days, minimal rain. I need fast and stable internet because most likely I'm going to be working. I'm going to be working. So unless I hit the lottery, I'll need to work. So I need to have fast, stable, reliable internet service. And then the COVID and the vaccine requirements. Those are things that I'm looking at as well. Like I said, if you decide to come to Anchorage, at least for now, you really don't have to worry about that. And then there's also the mask requirements, which is not a big deal. Living accommodations, so Airbnbs, hotels, rentals. Some people do hostels too. I'm not a hostel type of girl, and I don't know if I recommend any of the hostels here in Alaska, but you may want to check that out. That it's a really good cost savings if you're trying to stay somewhere on the cheap. And then there's cost of living. So I would really need to look into that a bit more. And then walkability and then driving. All right. So I'm hoping that y'all will kind of help me, maybe narrow down where I should do some snowbirding. All right. So let's see here. Arctic Thunder. I had to get the boost. Okay. We saw that one. Showing proof of, okay. We saw that one too. Goldie, no requirements in Texas. You make like Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, or Austin. I live in Houston, no mask or vaccination requirements. Okay. Yeah. And I heard that Texas was kind of doing their thing, I think, throughout. So that's cool. That's cool. That's true because I'm in Dallas. Okay, Pamela. All right. Yeah. So you and Goldie, you all have that in common. Let's see. Danielle, gotta run, y'all. This has been a lovely chat. Have a happy Valentine's Day and have a beautiful and blessed day. Oh yeah, happy Valentine's to everyone in advance. I, I don't even think about that much anymore. All right. Yeah, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Um, Arctic Thunder, it was so worth it. Work half a day, then 2 days of laying on the beach and loving it. Oh my gosh. Isn't that the life? That is the life. Oh my gosh. Let's see, Marion, what do you mean your neighbor turns their yard into a junkyard or trailer parks frequent? What will I get myself into? This is what I'll say, Marion, is that so we do have trailer parks. I don't know if they're frequent, but we do have trailer parks out. But Wasilla and Palmer, what I found is that you can have a really nice house, and then the neighbor will have like a bunch of cars, a bunch of just random stuff in their yard. And it's a huge turnoff. So I actually looked at homes out in Wasilla and Palmer, and someone was saying that maybe the realtor wanted me to get something here in Anchorage because they're more of an Anchorage based type realtor. But everything he showed me was like somebody had like a miniature junkyard in their yard. It was crazy. I was like, I mean, and that's why some people want to have so much land out that way. So, yeah, I don't know. Marion, do your research. Do your research. Do your Google Maps. All right. Michael, y'all got me wanting to take a trip soon. Phoenix was my last trip last June. Oh, Michael, you're overdue. Yeah, but you live in Florida. So, with the exception of that cold snap that you all had, you have beautiful weather there, beautiful scenery. I don't know if I would leave much if I lived in Florida. But yeah, you should take a trip to Alaska for the summer. Well, you've been here for the summer, but yeah. David, my African states don't care about vacation regarding travel. PVR test is mandatory. Employers can insist on vacation. Okay. Most African states don't care about vacation. Don't care about vacation regarding travel. Okay. Okay. Yeah. PVR test is mandatory. Yeah, some places are requiring that. They are requiring. Let's see here. Marion, as long as I get land surrounded by trees, a short walk from a beautiful lake and mountains, Alaskan dream. Oh, you'll love it here. There's so many places where you can get that, Marion. Yeah, you're really going to enjoy it here. And I'm curious, Marion, are you moving here or visiting for well, are you moving here because of a job or are you just going to be visiting? Arctic Thunder, you were close to Coachella. Okay, yeah. So I kept seeing buses driving by that had the Coachella sign on it. And I was surprised that they were having Coachella this year because I think they canceled it last year and the year before, right? So that's kind of cool. I wonder if they're going to limit how many people can attend though, because they weren't messing around when it came to like the vaccine and all that stuff. So I mean, are people going to have to wear their mask outside? I don't know. Hello, I am late, but that's okay. Hi, Debbie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're about to wrap up here in a second. And again, for those of you, if you just joined the live stream, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be awesome. And then we're going to have another live next Saturday. So if you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button because, again, if you want to participate in the chat, you need to be subscribed for 5 weeks or more. Okay. Marion, sounds like a great detailed plan, Terry. Marion, I'm not messing around. I said, if I'm not, because I'm not quite ready to leave Alaska just altogether permanently. Not yet. So I really, and this is going to give me an opportunity to experience different places, kind of get a lay of the land, by snowbirding. So, all right, let's see. Marion, I want to visit first, then decide moving there. Alaska looks absolutely gorgeous. That's because it is absolutely gorgeous. Every time I leave, I miss the mountains. Luckily, in Palm Springs, they have mountains, so that satisfied my fix for that. But yeah, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a great y'all. Thank you, Arctic Thunder. I'm going to go ahead and sign off here in just a second. I'm going to check a few more chats, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started with my day. It's 11:35 here, so I do have some chores I need to get to, and I got to call my mom. Y'all, my mom is going to be here. I'm going to see if I can get her on a live stream with me, and you can kind of like, maybe we can do a Q&A. I think that'll be cool. Jay, I'm with Michael. I need to get the hell out of Indiana. Oh gosh, yeah. You guys were having some cold temps down there in Indiana. My goodness. All right, y'all. So as per usual, it has been a blast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this video was helpful for you. Again, please give it a thumbs up. Share the video. The replay is going to be available today, but you won't be able to see the live chat until the following day. All right. Okay, everybody. Well, I will see you next Saturday, 8:30 Alaska time. And be well, be blessed. And I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye.